Lesson 6.1 is circles. Here we have an amusement park, and many amusement parks park rides speed the rider along a circular path. Each time around the circle completes one circumference of the circle. So all the way around the circle is the circumference. A circle by definition is a set of points in a plane that are a fixed distance from the given point. That given point is the center. So go ahead, right in the middle of the circle, put a little belly button, that's the center. The radius connects the center to any point in a circle. So let's go ahead and draw in the radius and label it. Now, plural of radius is radii. We do not have radiuses. And there's infinitely many radii in a circle because the radius again goes from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So I could draw it anywhere here as long as it comes from the center. And then the diameter goes through the center of the circle and it connects straight through. So actually, let me go ahead and draw it. You can go ahead and draw yours. I know you know what a diameter looks like, but I'm going to draw it so that it goes straight through and doesn't look too bad. So here's a diameter. It does have to be a straight line segment. I cannot say, oh, well, here and here, that's the diameter. The angle is going to be 180 degrees, the straight angle when you have the diameter. So here is the diameter, all the way across through the center. Now I do need you to recognize that how many radii make up a diameter? And that would be 2. So you can say that the diameter equals 2 times the radius, or the radius equals the diameter divided by 2. So those are 2 important formulas for you. Like I said before, the circumference, so go ahead and write that right in this little box here. The circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle. So if I were to unhook this circle and lie down the segment, that would be the circumference. And the ratio, we know a ratio is a fraction of the circumference to the diameter, c, so the circumference over the diameter is the same, and that's where we get pi. So you can use this relationship to find the formula of the circumference. So again, this ratio of circumference divided by diameter in any circle, any circle, will always be approximately 3.14159, etc. And remember, pi is an irrational number. We often use 3.14 for pi, but you might not be familiar with the fraction, the improper fraction 22/7. That is also approximately pi, so that's another one that's important for you. So the formula for circumference is over here. Circumference is pi times the diameter, or we can say, since we know the diameter is 2 times the radius, circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. We will use both of these formulas depending on if we're given the radius or if we're given the diameter. Like here, if we look at this, they're given the 6, that's the diameter, so they used pi times diameter. If you're given the radius, 2 times pi times the radius, and you'll get the same answer in each case. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. Find the circumference of each circle both in terms of pi and to the nearest tenth. They want us to use 3.14 for pi. Here they give us the radius, so circumference with the radius is 2 times pi times the radius. So my circumference is 2 times, they want us to use 3.14 for pi, times the radius is 10. And now I'll go ahead and just calculate that. 2 times 3.14 times 10. And it gives us 62 8/10. And this is in units. Next, they want us to find the same thing, circumference, but now the diameter is given instead of the radius, so it's going to be pi times diameter. So my circumference is pi, 3.14, times the diameter of 13. And 3.14 times 13 is 40 and 82 hundredths. And in this case, it's centimeters. Okay, we can also find the area of a circle using the radius of the circle. And so the area of the circle is pi times the square of the radius, pi r squared. So pi r squared is the area of the circle. Here's an example. They give you the radius, so we do pi times 3 squared, which is 9 times pi. And if they ask you to use either 22/7 or 3.14 for pi, then you plug it in and get your answer. And since it's area, we know the units are going to be squared. Here again, they're asking us to use 3.14 for pi, so let's go ahead. The radius is 20 feet, so area is pi times radius squared. So my area is pi times 20 squared. Remember, order of operations, we have to square the 20 first, which is 400. So my area here is 1,256 feet squared. Very important that you follow order of operations because you'd get a completely different answer if you multiplied and then squared. Okay, here they give us the diameter. I do not have an area formula for a circle with the diameter, so I'm going to have to change the diameter into radius. Remember, the radius is the diameter divided by 2. So I'm going to calculate that. It's going to be 17 divided by 2, which is 8.5. So my radius is 8.5. So my area is pi r squared 3.14 times 8.5 squared. Eight and a half squared is 72.25. Oops, I don't want to write that. There we go. 3.14 times 72.25. And that gives me 226. And we're going to round it to the nearest hundredths, so 87 hundredths meters squared. All right. Next, they're going to ask us to find the area and circumference, but they're going to actually have us graph a circle. Well, they're telling us the center of the circle is 0, 0, and that it passes through 0, -3. So that means that my circle has a radius of 1, 2, 3. So if I graph this, that means from the center, 1, 2, 3, I go out in all directions. You could find 3 if you wanted to with the distance formula, but this is going to work good enough for us. Just be careful when you draw in your circle. Try to get as accurate a circle as you can. And as you can see, what I'm doing is just taking 1/4 of the circle at a time. Close enough. And then here's my radius. So my radius equals 3. Now that I have my radius, I can find the area and the circumference. So I'll do area first. Area is pi r squared. So my area, again, they're asking you to use 3.14 times 3 squared. So the area is 3.14 times 9. And that gives us, the directions say round to the nearest tenth, so this is 28 3/10. And this is just going to be units squared. My circumference with the radius is 2 pi r, so 2 times 3.14 times 3 is 18 8/10, when I round it to the nearest tenth. And this is just units. And this is our last one. It says a wheel has a radius of 2 1/3 feet. About how far does it travel if it makes 60 complete revolutions? So a revolution is one time around. So around the circle is circumference. So I need my circumference formula, 2 pi r. So one revolution is the circumference. I'm going to end up doing 60 revolutions, so we'll use the 60 in a little bit. And they're asking us now to use 22/7 for pi. So I have circumference is 2 times 22/7 times, don't forget when you multiply and you have a mixed number, you actually change it to an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7, so this is 7/3. So I will use 7/3. Now when I multiply this, I'm going to do some cross canceling right here with the 7s. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. And now I can just do 2 times 22 times 1. So this is going to give me 44 over, and then 1 times 3 is 3. So now I need 44/3. I'm going to write that as a mixed number. Actually, not yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. I will leave it as 44/3. This is one revolution. But I need 60. So I need to multiply it by 60. So 44/3 times 60. Again, I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel. 3 divides into 60 20 times and into itself once. So now it's just 44 times 60. And it's 2,640, and this is in feet. So it's going to travel 2,640 feet for 60 revolutions. All right, I will have the assignment posted online for you, or you can just wait until you get to class tomorrow and do it.